One in five suffer.
Erase the stigma.
Brain difference is not a crime.
Mental health isn't just your problem.
It's our problem.
And now, Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave.
Welcome to Mental Health Mondays. I am Marla.
And I'm Dave.
There you go. I was going to say, and he is.
Well, there you
he
go.
Spoke for himself.
Right before we get started, we want to remind you to text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 818-698-1021 and support our A Dollar Today Keeps the Stigma Away campaign. We can't do this without you. We need you. We appreciate you. And so we say thank you for supporting us. Our guest today is a comedian, writer, and filmmaker, and a comedy slash mental health content creator. She has a book, and I'll get this, you guys. She has a book called Don't Effing Panic. Now, there's a little tagline that goes after that. I might as well just say it. The shit they don't tell you in therapy about anxiety disorder, panic attacks, and depression. So where that's
where was Kelsey when it was time for me to come up with the title? I need some cool
I think you and Kelsey might think quite similarly. Anyway, so the funny thing about it is the book title already has me laughing, so I can't wait till we have our conversation with Kelsey. We're going to have a lot of fun. So when we come back, you will not want to miss our conversation with Kelsey Darragh. We'll be right back.
See you in a minute.
When Dave and Marla get together, it's hot. Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave and NAMI San Fernando Valley believe it doesn't take much to make life a little better for our neighbors, coworkers, friends, our family members, even our children who suffer with mental illness. When you support our A Dollar Today Keeps the Stigma Away campaign, you are doing your part to erase the stigma surrounding mental illness. For just $1 today, or $1 a day for 1 week, just $7, we can look forward to a future that does not include the unfortunate and uncomfortable stares, bullying, and the subsequent isolation that our loved ones who suffer with brain differences deal with. Text the word GIVE, that's G-I-V-E, to 818-698-1021 to donate. A dollar today keeps the stigma away. Brought to you by Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave and NAMI San Fernando Valley.
And we're back. As promised, we're welcoming Kelsey Darragh. Kelsey, how you doing?
Hi, Marla and Dave. Thanks so much for having me. You guys are so hot. I can't stand it.
Here's the thing. Oh, thank you very much.
Well, not today, but 2 days ago, I was literally hot. It was 105.
We do live in the valley, so it gets pretty hot. Anyway, but thank you. Kelsey, now, the book title, you got to tell us where did that come from?
Well, I'm happy to say it came from personal experience with panic disorder. And it really felt like this book and this workbook needed a title that matched the emotions that a panic attack does bring to anyone lucky enough to experience it. So that's where the inspiration came from.
So you mentioned a workbook. So that's an interesting feature about your book. It's not just a read along and just sit back. You got to interact with the actual book itself, with the information, which is really cool.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. What made you think to do it that way?
You know, I really wanted to write a workbook that I had when I started struggling with mental health and specifically panic disorder when I was young. So I wanted to make something that someone could bring with them anywhere, could bust out at any moment, plane, train, school, automobiles, whatever. They could bring them, and if they were having a panic attack or going through a bout of depression or high anxiety, they could bust open the pages and work on an exercise or
in real time
and get help right there and then in the pages.
Well, go ahead, Marla.
No, I was gonna say. Did you bring me into your actual diagnosis? Like, what was there a moment, a fracturing moment for you that you were like, whoa, this needs some professional attention. Something's wrong here.
Yes, absolutely. And unfortunately, I had to come from a lot of self-advocating because I grew up as a child of the 90s where my parents had no idea what the heck was going on. You know,
Right.
I was having panic attacks and got brought into the ER or, you know, the little children's urgent care, and they would just give me some baby Valium and say, yeah, I don't know. She's fine. Nothing's coming up on the test. You should just take her home. No one was like, maybe she should see someone about
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
this.
Exactly. You get
So-
you get the complimentary amoxicillin, the antibiotic. It's like she must have a sinus infection.
Exactly.
Let her
She
take
can't
this.
breathe. There's something wrong with her sinuses, allergies. But yeah, it wasn't until I was 17 that I was given the actual diagnosis of panic disorder, anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder, and intermittently major depressive disorder.
Wow.
Wow. And-
Core 3.
yeah, oh man, that is so once you got the diagnosis, did that give you some relief or did that make you say, okay, so now I know what I'm dealing with, I can make a
Or
plan
did
of
it
attack?
make you more anxious?
You know, you would hope the diagnosis means a cure, right? Like now that I know what it is,
Right.
there must be a treatment for it that
Yeah.
fixes all of this. And the truth is, it's just not a one size fits all for mental health. So while there certainly was some relief with getting a name and something I could look up and see that other people had experiences like me and I wasn't actually going crazy,
Yeah.
it was really just another chapter in the book of learning
Right.
how to manage these things.
Which I'm glad Kelsey, that you're using that word, manage, because if I can't reiterate enough, and when it comes to anything in mental health, it's not a cure. You don't have a cold that you're gonna, the virus it's gonna run its course, and you're gonna be 100% what you were. The bottom line is, it's not something you cure. It's always something that you have to manage. And the quicker you get to that, the better your chances are, for sure, is to being able to, manage it and balance your life where it's not, it doesn't interrupt you as much.
So right before I make my next point, I want to go back to something that you said before. When you're working with the workbook, does that kind of take your mind off whatever topic that you're panicking about or having anxiety about?
Yes, there are some exercises in there that are very distracting. Like there's a connect the dots. That, spoiler alert, it comes out to be a photo of Ryan Gosling holding a bunny, which I just happen to think is like very soothing in that moment.
I was about to get the workbook, but never
Is
mind.
Ryan Gosling soothing or is the bunny soothing?
The imagery of it's nice to my heart. So
There
there's,
you go.
Soothing things like that. That's a little bit more distracting. Crossword puzzles, Sudokus.
She said,
But then
spoiler
there's
alert.
actual, real scientific evidence
Right.
of
Yeah.
what's happening in your body, which for me, I found out that knowledge was power to the 10th degree, where I could understand what is physically happening to my body during these times, helps me understand it and not be so afraid of it. So
Okay.
I gave a little bit of both.
I have a question. Because what you just said again about knowledge, but did you ever struggle with acceptance? Like once it was put before you, were you like, nope, it's not. I drank too much water. Nope, I have a sunburn. Nope, this isn't it.
It was a lot of fear. It was coming from a place of fear every single time. I wasn't accepting of what was actually happening to me. It was, am I going to be this way forever? Am I broken? Is something wrong with me? And it was hard to accept that I could be this way and also be successful, hot, funny, thriving, lovable. It took a while.
And you also have a cool room. I just want to say that.
thank you.
It's very cool. I've been sitting here silently coveting.
So why don't you, for those who might not understand what an anxiety attack actually is, why don't you walk us through the beginning of when it's starting to build up, in the middle of it when you're dealing with the crux of the matter or the issue, and then going through some of those exercises that kind of bring you back to a more calm state.
Absolutely. My favorite thing to talk about. So
Awesome.
a really good thing to note is that anxiety attacks and panic attacks are actually very different. Anxiety attacks are actually things that are usually felt more cerebral, like when you feel like you have too many ruminating thoughts or you have too much stress, too much to do, and it becomes overwhelming and your system kind of starts to shut down in a way where it feels like you can't move on with tasks. That's a form of unhealthy stress.
Right.
With panic attacks, panic disorder, it's much more physical for the person experiencing. So with panic attacks, you get the symptoms of all things physical. So heart racing, feeling short of breath, sweaty palms, dizziness, that comes much more in the body. So we're looking at mind and body, and sometimes it can be a
Combination of both. Yeah.
Yes, let's be real. So with panic, something I learned that was a real big help for me is that your nervous system is just going out of whack right now. Your heart rate is going up because it thinks you're in danger. You go into flight or fight mode. You want to actually get up. It's very hard to rationalize a panic attack in the moment. So I try to focus on what are things that I could do to my body right now to make that parasympathetic nervous system chill the F out. And a big thing for panic attack sufferers are people who tend to overbreathe because we feel like we can't breathe. So it's kind of a paradox where you feel like you're out of breath or you're choking even. So we take these really
so you're
big
kind of
gasps for
hyperventilating.
air. Exactly. And what that's actually doing is it's causing our body to go, oh yes, we need to
We
breathe
definitely are in
harder.
trouble. Yes.
So we start to produce a higher heart rate. We start to perspirate even more. But in reality, slowing down everything
Right.
is exactly what you need to do. Because while we might not be able to see, hey, why are we panicking? I don't sense any danger here. Our brains are feeling something. So we have to honor that. So the way we honor that is by trying to turn the volume down on all of those physical symptoms. So actually slowing down the breathing, slowing down the thoughts, staying more still, calmer, which is the opposite of everything your body's trying to do.
Exactly.
You don't feel like it, but you have to do it.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I definitely say, unfortunately, it's one of those practice makes perfect kinds of treatments. But again, even just knowing these little things about what's going on with you, scientifically, medically, can help you understand how to act in that moment a little bit better.
That's actually
that is very
it is. I was gonna say
a little bit of education for us as well, because I was always thinking that anxiety and panic attacks are pretty much just synonymous.
And what's interesting is, to be truthful, our oldest daughter experienced that in high school
She sure did.
twice, and we didn't know. And I was like,
We thought she was trying to get out of doing her work.
literally, we were like, okay,
Like,
so
oh,
because she was like,
You can't fool us.
I
You know,
think
you're struggling in a class. Next thing you know, you're in the ambulance.
I'm
No.
busy. I can't. I think I walked through some kids who were smoking something, and she couldn't stand up. And then they called the ambulance, and we were like, and when they got there, they ran all these tests. They were like, she's fine. And I'm like, now I realize I have one more thing to put on my apology list. Damn
Well,
it.
so Kelsey, now you've already you set the bar really high. This first segment was not only funny and fun, but educational as well. So when we come back, you got to keep it up. We'll be right back with Kelsey, Darragh.
It's time for the Mental Health Minute with Marla and Dave.
While dealing with an ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the United States is also facing a worsening substance use crisis. More than 1 in 10 adults have reported starting or increasing the use of alcohol or drugs to cope with the pandemic.
According to the Kaufman Family Foundation, deaths due to drug overdose also spiked during the pandemic, primarily driven by opioids.
Early in the pandemic, there were reports of some states and local programs decreasing funding for substance use services. Other reports have highlighted treatment centers limiting their patient capacity, while some centers have just completely closed down.
So again, always on Mental Health Mondays, if you or anyone that you know is dealing with a substance use disorder, please seek professional help immediately. Remember, you're not alone. This message is brought to you by Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave.
David is a thinker.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker.
One time I want to be the thinker, and I want you to be the feeler in the future.
Okay. We'll have to work
Just
that
like
out.
that.
Just a
Freaky
suggestion.
Friday.
Well, we can't ever change the name around because it would be our acronym would go from mad to damn. That's not ever. That can't be good. Only if you're writing the book for us, then it'll work.
So now, Kelsey, we were having so much fun. Now, how did comedy actually come into your life, and when did that start? And matter of fact, before you answer, tie this in as well, because I'm an entertainer as well. So at the beginning, I used to get on stage and have some stage fright.
Really?
So how did that impact you dealing with the diagnosis and yet still wanting to be out there under the lights?
Yeah, I mean, it all goes back to the fact that I am the youngest of the family, and I felt like I always needed attention, but I wasn't getting it in the way that I needed it. I found myself in, school plays or television productions. I was always finding a way where I could turn this magic on, and it almost felt so natural. Like I was disappearing from who I was as a person, and I was able to put on this mask for a little while. So I really loved performing. I never found myself, of course I'd get the little, jitters before going on, but
you look forward to it.
Yes, it was almost like a outlet for me to get my anxiety out. But, in terms of how this played into, my anxiety, it was always a superpower I saw that I had. I always turned this, I got to be a perfectionist, or I've got to perform, I've got to be the best, I got to make this amount of money, blah blah blah. It always fueled me. So I for so long had a incorrect lens on the way that my anxiety was actually helping me, when I didn't realize how much it was actually hurting me. But I will say, and I'm sure you guys can understand this, comedy is a coping mechanism. Come on, let's be
for
real.
sure.
The comedians we know are the most messed up people out there, and usually the funnier, the worse they are.
Hold on, Kelsey. That's a little bit.
It's funny that you say that, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Marla
I
did
was a
stand-up
stand-up
comedy
comic.
for a while.
I do know that. I saw that.
So now
I'm right there with you,
I've
girl.
been exposed. I am messed up.
But it is a beautiful way to connect with people where
Oh, for sure.
The more they laugh, the more you understand you're not alone. It's not anyone going, oh man, that's not funny. She should really see someone about that. It's,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not alone. Me too. And if I can find a way to turn my pain into purpose, then hell, that's a good job.
And maybe another way of saying you're not alone is you too.
You too. Oh, really? You think me?
You
but
think
how
it's
about
just
you?
me? You too.
Yeah, you understood this a little too clear.
So more specifically, you never had a panic attack on stage.
No, I've been in moments where I was on like a podcast or something, or, a live show, and I thought, wouldn't it be the worst if right now I had a panic attack? But I've gotten to a point in my career where I've talked about mental health so much that I feel like I could use that as part of the content or the programming to say, ooh, things are getting a little overwhelming. What if we all just took like a cleansing breath right now? And I've never had someone say, no, we're not going to do that.
You better keep going.
Yeah. Suffer, fool.
And so that's another misnomer.
No cleansing here.
A lot of us think that people dealing with anxiety or panic attacks, it's usually the situation that causes them to have that level of stress. So what you're saying is that's not necessarily connected all the time.
Not always. It's often the times where we're by ourselves, or we're doing work, or we have a big responsibility, and it compiles. It compiles when we don't have these healthy outlets.
And I'll say this just from experience, when you get into that mode and you can go into a performance mode, to be totally honest, it's literally like a pressure valve. When you're not there, you're always in your head. Like you're not able to just, so I look forward to interaction a lot. I always say, even when I'm speaking, I don't really like to talk at someone. I would prefer to talk with you. So it's an exchange. It is. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. So the thing that is also interesting about your unique story is that you seem to have come to this point of clarity at such a young age. A lot of people that we deal with,
you're such a baby.
They have to go through so many challenges before they actually get this level of clarity.
Hold on, Dave. Should we ID her before you ask her this question? Because look at her. Is she underage? Should she be speaking openly?
Well, we can't take it to the bar, that's for sure. I'm just joking.
You guys are the best. That's so kind. I am a whopping 31 years old.
Oh, really? You're still a baby, and we could be your parents.
I appreciate you. That makes me so good. Nice to hear.
But no, I'll let you answer Dave's question, and then I want to share a compliment that is in the chat room that's directed specifically to you, Kelsey.
Oh, I love compliments.
So do you feel that you didn't come to this clarity at a young age? Because it seems like you did. So, I mean, once you...
Oh my gosh. I feel like I suffered so much. I mean, the amount of emergency room visits, doctors, the money, the treatments, I've tried everything from crystal healing to medication management. I even mentioned I just recently started ketamine therapy. I feel like I have run the gamut when it comes to experience. And I also chalk it up to being raised in Florida, which is just a crazy, wild, messed up place. You get a lot of life experience very early on, whether you like it or not, when you grow up in Florida. But it definitely feels like in the last few years, especially when I got sober from drinking alcohol about 2.5 years ago, I feel the healthiest and most clear in my life, and that I can finally turn all that I've been through into hopefully something that other people can use for themselves, so that they don't have to suffer for as long as I did.
Well, I can tell you that you've helped Tyler Conrad.
Oh,
and Tyler writes in the YouTube chat room. He says, "So thankful for all Kelsey's work. She's so fun and informative. Can't thank her enough for how much she's helped me when my mind feels so out of control with anxiety and panic."
That makes me feel so good. Like, I'm sure you guys feel the same way. If one person's day,
I definitely listen. He and I have we're the same core spirit, but we move through life completely different. And he said to me one day, "So if 100 people write you, are you just going to sit here and respond by yourself? Because I don't have anybody. This is so sensitive to me that your people don't get to talk to my people. It's me. Because I feel like if you're reaching out to something that's touched you about me. So yeah, I said, yeah, if it takes me a week, I'll do it.
That's why we love you, Marla, and Dave too. We gotta have
Thank you.
I mean, his name is on the show. You might as well.
Well, I always describe the difference between Marla and I as she's an extrovert and I'm an introvert. When I feel the need to recharge, I need to do that alone. And she feels the need to recharge. She needs to do that with a crowd.
Have y'all ever heard of the term ambivert?
No. Girl, don't come up in here with some new. Don't bring any new shit.
Y'all got to remember, I used to work at BuzzFeed, so I got all the internet lingo and all the youth words.
What is that?
The words
BuzzFeed.
that the youths are using.
No, I know BuzzFeed.
So ambivert is a mixture of introvert and extrovert. So when you're extroverted, you're being very extroverted.
Oh, like ambidextrous.
Exactly, where you can be both, where I am the same way, where I need personal time to be alone and recharge, but then I love being with people, and when I'm with them, I try to give them my 100%.
Right.
It's a lot more balanced, I guess.
I don't know if I'm an ambivert, but I can at least say, in true confession, that during COVID, I've become almost, I feel like a recluse. Like I wasn't kidding. Like it's a lot for me to decide. He just did a giant performance, they attribute to Paul Simon. And it took everything in me. I was like, do I have to take a shower? Do I really have to put on makeup? Do I have to wear lipstick?
I couldn't even get her to come get her credentials. So
he was like, Marla, you have to come get your COVID test. I was like, can I just stay in the hotel?
I don't know if you feel this way, but I couldn't believe that we put on makeup. We used to put on makeup every single day.
Girl.
What? We used to get dressed and look cute every day. Girl, if you get that one day.
I have chopped all the heels off all my shoes. They're all tennis shoes now.
I said never heels again. Never heels. Never heels.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Well, we will deal more with the pandemic stresses put on the female sex when we come back. This is a riot. This is just a lot of fun with Kelsey, Darragh. We'll be right back. All right, that music lets us know
that today you're dancing.
Oh yeah.
Okay. That's good. What? But remember, it's supposed to be a pole dancing. So what happened to your sexy? You didn't have that. Nothing?
See,
You got
you
nothing?
know what? I don't have that much pole experience, so I had to
Oh.
actually kind of freestyle there.
Because I'm a veteran.
Yeah. Anyway, so Kelsey, this is our poll question break. Last week we asked the question, due to the pandemic, the use of telehealth services has skyrocketed. The question is, what percentage of the overall telehealth visits are for outpatient mental health and substance use services? Is it 15%? Is it 27%? Or is it 36%?
Now, our guest last week did get a chance to guess this, so you can either match their brilliance
Were
or
they
be
right?
an epic failure. That's your choice, though. You
Were
pick
they
one.
right last week, Marla?
Mhm.
Okay.
My hope is I want to say the larger number, but after working in the mental health field for as long as I have, I'm going to have to go with the lowest number.
Which is
15, 27, or 36.
I'm going with 15.
Okay.
So
I think you talked yourself right out
I
of it,
think you
Kelsey,
meant-
because
I
your
think you-
instincts were absolutely
I
correct.
think this was opposites day, but you didn't get the memo. It's fine. It's fine. You can listen. You're gonna
So
get
she
another
gets
chance.
credit. She was on opposite day.
She's this opposites day. We'll give you.
That's great news. That's great news that it's the most.
You know what? Yeah, that
awesome.
means people are checking in on there. But you know what? That's because of the pandemic, though. So I'm sure that number has gotten
Okay.
higher. What's the next question for next week,
This is your chance for
Marla?
next week. Here we go. With over 20 million people over the age of 12 having experienced a substance use disorder last year, how many of them reported receiving treatment? 10%, 23%, or 37%?
Well, now y'all know I'm going with the highest. I'm going 37%.
Okay, so Kelsey, that's great. And we're gonna have to keep you on ice, sweetie. You got to show up here next week.
Watch the show next week. We'll tell you. We'll tell you next week if you got it correct. And remember, you guys, I keep saying it throughout the show. Text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 818-698-1021. $1 today keeps the stigma away. Be right back.
I feel like I have to check you, sweetie. Are you okay? Because I mean, I don't want to trigger you or anything. Are you good? Because
I'm
you had that
chilling.
one little situation there where I'm not gonna say that you didn't really meet the mark because we flipped it around for you, but it's okay. You're coming back next week. You're coming back, baby. You gotta roll those dice. Ooh, Kelsey needs a new pair of shoes.
So, Kelsey,
Yes.
I have another question for you. So, when you're dealing with somebody really going through the throes of whatever their anxiety / panic attack or depression, and they're in a more serious space, what is your approach then? Do you meet them there and then kind of help lighten the mood for them, or do you just come out full speed?
You know, it's different for every person, of course. I try to be like, a trip sitter. You ever have a trip sitter? Well, you don't have to say if you personally have ever had a trip sitter. When you're doing drugs and you need someone that's there to just kind of make sure you don't walk off a cliff or do anything
What did you call
stupid.
that?
A trip sitter.
Trip sitter.
A trip sitter. I was like a trip
Yeah.
sitter. What's a trip sitter?
A
Okay.
trip space sitter. You just want someone that's going to be there to
Make sure you're safe.
and
Right.
everything you're saying. So
Right.
if it's you need water or you need someone to hold you or you need someone to get far away from you, you want to know what you can do to make that person's panic or anxiety the most
Better.
optimal experience, right? And it's not always going to be the same for everybody. So it's about doing that active listening. Marla, what you so gorgeously said is like actually showing up to have that conversation and not try to just fix or tell them what you think they should do or give unsolicited advice. It's really about having that conversation and seeing, okay, what do you need? And if you don't know what you need in this exact moment, how can I still support you?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to jump right out here because so often, it's become necessary for an episode 2 with several of our guests, and you are on the necessary list. I actually want to delve a little bit into some of the treatments, starting with your ketamine experience.
Yes, I would
So
love
we'll
to.
have to. We'll
Just
definitely have to
happened.
do that for sure. We will have to talk to Hannah and have that set up.
Absolutely. So, and the saying goes, time flies when you're having fun, and time has flown, and we are unfortunately at the end of the show. So, Kelsey, give us just a word of encouragement for somebody out there who might just start to have the inkling or start to realize that they might be dealing with something similar.
Yes, you are never alone. And if all you did today was stay, then I am proud of you. There is help out there.
I love that. And you're not alone is really our main mantra around here. That's what we say, because a lot of times when you're dealing with issues like these, that's the first thing that you feel is kind of isolated and ostracized, and that you are alone. But it's not true. I mean, the statistics used to be 1 in 5 of us are dealing
like
with
1 in 3.
some type of mental health issue, and now it's up as high as Marla said to 1 in 3. So you're definitely not alone. And the more you are willing to be transparent and share and ask for help, you'll find that not only are you not alone, but help is out there available for you as well.
And I can't let you get out of here before everyone here who we want to be able to find you. So how can we? How can I show up virtually in your pink room? That's what I
Oh
want
my
to know.
gosh. Yes. That was a metaphor for my womb. Kelsey, Darragh, and all the things. You can find me on the internet. And thank you so much for having me, you guys. You're an absolute joy. And thank you for doing what you're doing.
And remember, please go out and get a copy of Kelsey's book. Again, I'll tell you the name. Don't effing panic. The shit they don't tell you in therapy about anxiety disorder, panic attacks, and depression. It will definitely help you. It's there up on the screen. Kelsey, thank you so much. You've been just a ray of sunshine.
Thank you, guys.
I was rushing in, getting off the plane, not really feeling that good, and you really lifted my spirits.
Oh, your energies are both
Kelsey,
gorgeous.
Don't exclaim over that. He flies as much as he drinks water, like almost daily. It's like that's not a feat. So
I love you both.
I told somebody the other day, I'm not just a wife, I'm a woober. Instead of I'm like, what, you need your Uber to take you to the airport? Okay.
You're 5 stars in my book, Marla. 5 stars.
Kelsey, thank you so much, and much success to you in the future. We love you.
We'll see you again. I promise you will. All right.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
See you guys next week.